My electric bill was higher than a theme park's, and I couldn't figure out why. I lived alone in a modest house in Pine Valley Estates. No kids, no power-hungry devices, just solar panels, energy-efficient appliances, and a backup battery system. So why was I paying for a rock concert? That question bugged me until I spotted the outdoor power line hidden behind some bushes on the side of my house. There it was, a bright yellow extension cord snaking out of my outlet like a thief's hand. I followed it, barefoot on the wet grass, around the fence, and stopped cold. There stood Brenda Mitchell, the HOA president, in a floppy straw hat and a loud floral robe, sipping iced tea while her industrial fan and space heater buzzed on her patio, plugged into my electricity. This wasn't just stealing. It was a declaration of war. I bought this house for peace. After retiring early from my civil engineering career, I wanted quiet mornings, fresh air, and a break from city chaos. The last thing I needed was a fight with a suburban bully who thought her HOA title let her drain my power like a greedy parasite. Brenda was notorious in Pine Valley Estates, known for her clipboard, her obsession with roses, and a personality that could sour milk. She ran the HOA like a dictator, making up rules to fine people for crooked mailboxes or unapproved wreaths. I'd kept my head down, paid my dues, and stayed off her radar. Until now. Instead of charging over, I played it smart. I unscrewed the outlet cover, checked the wiring, and confirmed my suspicions. The breaker was tripping from constant overuse. My smart meter app showed daily power spikes between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., prime time for Brenda's patio lounging. So, I did what any calm, non-violent guy would do when facing an HOA tyrant. I bought a motion-activated trail camera, hid it in a decorative birdhouse by the outlet, and waited. The footage over the next 3 days was half funny, half infuriating. Brenda would stroll over in some tacky workout outfit, plug in her cord like she owned my yard, and strut back, texting with one hand, holding a smoothie in the other. On day 3, she even yelled to her husband, "Don't worry, we've got plenty of power for the blender now." A blender. She was making margaritas on my bill. I wasn't just mad, I was stunned by her nerve. When I confronted her, the real show began. I caught her mid-plug, her hand frozen on the cord like she was caught stealing cookies. "Brenda," I said calmly, "did you know that's my outlet?" She didn't blink. "Oh, this again." That outlet's on the HOA-maintained side yard, so it's community property. The board voted to allow utility sharing for outdoor events. I stared, shocked. "A vote?" She smirked. "Unofficial, but I'm president, so it's valid." I told her to stop, or I'd call the city. She laughed, muttering, "You should thank me for using your wasted space," and walked off. That's when I knew she'd learn the hard way. What Brenda didn't know, what most electricians wouldn't spot without studying the property plans, was that the outlet wasn't standard. The previous owner, an eco-tech enthusiast, had rewired it years ago during a septic system upgrade. It was tied to the same auxiliary line as the septic tank's aeration motor, part of a high-tech green setup I'd kept running with custom automation. Normally, the line was dormant, but heavy power draws could overload a backflow failsafe, releasing pressure into an overflow pipe that, thanks to Brenda's unpermitted landscaping project last year, now ran right under her backyard. It was almost poetic. Her greed was about to backfire in the messiest way possible. I checked the system that night. The load stress was critical. Brenda's cords weren't just spiking my bill, they were pushing the septic system's pressure valves to the edge. One more big pull, and the whole loop would burst. Instead of stopping it, I adjusted the safety limit to barely hold, adding a digital timer. Brenda had plugged herself into a disaster waiting to happen. The next day, she announced her annual summer garden party, passing out fancy flyers bragging about drinks, music, and dancing lights powered by our eco-friendly neighbor, Nathan. I hadn't agreed to anything, but I stayed quiet. I prepped the septic monitor, calibrated the sensors, and sat on my porch with a cold drink, phone ready to record the chaos. By 2 p.m., Her party was in full swing. The yellow cord was taped across the grass, feeding a mess of splitters, powering fans, lanterns, and a margarita machine. Brenda's guests danced under fairy lights, unaware of the countdown on my app. 1 hour until pressure failure. I could stop it with a tap, but I didn't. Brenda had chosen her path. All I did was watch the numbers tick down, waiting for her smug grin to turn into a scream. Pine Valley Estates buzzed with excitement. Brenda's parties were rare, and she'd gone all out, rented speakers, a local guitarist, even a fog machine for effect. From my porch, I sipped lemonade, phone recording, feeling like I was watching a thief rob themselves. Brenda strutted like a queen, barking orders at HOA followers desperate to stay on her good side. The court from my outlet looked like it was powering a small festival. A kid ran by with a slushie, followed by a woman swatting mosquitoes like she was in a horror movie. I smiled. With 38 minutes left, the septic pressure hit critical. The failsafe valve triggered once, but couldn't reset with the constant drain from Brenda's setup, now including a karaoke machine. Brenda grabbed the mic, boasting about her energy-efficient event, and thanking Nathan while glancing at my porch. I waved, smirking. At 22 minutes, the system spiked again, flashing red. Brenda's husband turned on the fog machine, and I nearly choked on my drink. Guests danced to a bad version of Sweet Caroline, oblivious to the faint hum of the aeration pump, a sound only I knew meant trouble. At 15 minutes, the system texted me, secondary containment breach in 13 minutes, if input sustained. My thumb hovered over the disable button. I could end it, but this wasn't revenge. It was physics teaching a lesson. Brenda had mocked me, stolen from me, laughed in my face. At 7 minutes, kids did cartwheels and adults praised Brenda's rants about entitlement. The irony was perfect. At 2 minutes, she cranked the karaoke volume and the bass shook my porch. My app flashed red. 0. A gurgle interrupted the party, like a drain choking under pressure. It came from a metal cap near a party table. Guests looked down, confused. Then a brownish-gray jet sprayed across the tablecloth, soaking linens and snacks. Screams broke out. A second burst, stronger, hit Brenda's prized roses and her koi pond, turning it to sludge. The stench hit like a wave. Guests gagged, dropped drinks, and ran, trampling roses. The guitarist fled mid-song. Someone shouted, "It's sewage." Brenda stood frozen, mic in hand, her face pure horror. The fog machine churned, mixing with septic mist in a nightmare haze. She slipped in the muck, not mud, and fell hard. I didn't cheer. I just watched her empire collapse. The smell lingered into the night, even after plumbers roped off her yard. Brenda screamed at them, blaming Nathan's sabotage, as if I'd rigged her yard to explode. The truth was simpler. She'd overloaded a system she didn't understand and ignored every warning. But Brenda didn't do accountability. By morning, an HOA violation notice was taped to my door, accusing me of causing an environmental hazard and threatening a $5,000 fine. It was so ridiculous, I almost laughed. But she was serious, spinning a cover-up with me as the bad guy. The next days were wild. Anonymous city complaints claimed I had illegal utilities and unsafe construction. I showed inspectors my permits and schematics. They apologized and left. Then came parking tickets for my truck in my own driveway and HOA fines for hedges, mailbox angles, even solar panel glare. Brenda had gone all out. I documented everything, her citations, my outlet footage, power logs, and inspection reports. I wasn't just defending myself, I was building a case to take her down. Then she messed up again. Past midnight, I caught her prying open my electrical box with a screwdriver. My flashlight hit her, and she yelped, stammering about safety checks. I pointed to the security camera and said, "Smile for the HOA." She tripped over her own cord, fleeing. I called the police, filed a report, and handed over the footage. The officer muttered, "HOA power breeds this kind of crazy." You'd be surprised how often we see it. Word spread. Neighbors shared their Brenda horror stories, fines for fake rules, secret meetings, misused HOA funds for her lawn. Her septic disaster had cracked her throne, and people were done hiding. She fought back with flyers titled "The Truth About the Septic Scandal," painting herself as a victim of my dangerous utilities. But someone posted my footage online, showing her stealing power and bragging at the party. Comments exploded, "She's the thief. Isn't that illegal?" Neighbors posted more evidence, her plugging in elsewhere, HOA budget issues favoring her yard. The tide turned. The health department investigated creek contamination from Brenda's unpermitted landscaping. I handed over logs and schematics while she slammed her door on them. 2 HOA board members quit, fed up with her chaos. At an emergency HOA meeting, the county played my video. The room went quiet. When they revealed her illegal landscaping and a $250,000 fine, neighbors erupted, demanding her removal and refunds. Brenda's excuses, lost permits, edited footage, fell apart. The HOA faced an audit, and she faced personal liability. In court, my civil suit against Brenda and the HOA was rock solid. Her lawyers, communal outlet, defense flopped. The judge awarded me damages, fees, and an HOA apology. Brenda was banned from leadership for 5 years and faced county charges for environmental violations. I joined the HOA as an advisor, pushing the Mitchell provision to stop abuses. Her house went up for sale, her husband gone, her reputation ruined. One evening, Brenda showed up at my barbecue, looking tired. She handed me the court-ordered apology letter, saying, "I figured you'd want the original." I took it, saying, "You could have mailed it." She nodded, sighed, and left after I warned, "Plug into my outlet again, and I'm wiring it to a skunk sprayer." She gave a weak smile and disappeared. Pine Valley Estates healed. The HOA became open and fair. Neighbors helped each other, and I upgraded my systems with settlement money. The county certified us for green infrastructure, and we built a community garden where Brenda's disaster happened, with a plaque, "Respect boundaries, electrical, personal, and otherwise." New owners moved into her house, unaware of the saga. On my porch, I sipped lemonade, staring at the locked outlet, a reminder of ego's downfall and the power of standing firm. Brenda was gone, washed away by truth, and I'd never need to flip a switch to prove my point.